In this video, we're going to look at making a GitHub Pages repository to host simple website content. Here I am on GitHub site and looking at their pages, and I'll have a link to this in the video description. And this describes the process of how we can use a very specific repository name in GitHub to make a web loadable website, essentially. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to my GitHub site. And this is assuming that you've made a free GitHub site, or perhaps you have a larger account. And in my case, I have a few repositories here that I've already made for projects. And the process is I need to make a new repository, and I have to follow the very specific naming convention username.github.io, where username is your username on GitHub. So I'm going to copy that and make my repository name replace username with augustuswendel.github.io, and that is going to be the address that I'll use to build this. And let's just say Augustus Wendel GitHub Pages website. I'm going to make it public, and I'm going to create the repository. And now if I look at my repositories on GitHub, I'll see that I have augustuswendel.github.io. On my workstation, I prefer to use GitHub Desktop to move things back and forth. So my methodology is I'm going to make a folder on my desktop machine and put anything I want to be on my website into that folder. And then I'm going to use Desktop, which is more comfortable for me as an application, to push things from my local machine up to the cloud. So this moves things back and forth, almost like an FTP, but of course much more specific to the way GitHub works and the way you incrementally update repositories. So I have already downloaded GitHub Desktop, and I have it available here on my current machine. I am going to go to repository. I'm going to clone a repository, and I'm going to clone. This is the new repository that I made. So I'm looking on github.com. I'm already logged in as myself. So these are all different repositories that exist on GitHub. And by cloning, I'm asking GitHub to take the repository in the cloud and make a folder for it on my local machine, and allow me then to move things back and forth. So it's making a duplicate that it will then keep up to date as I choose to by syncing these two folders together. I'm cloning it to a local path. So on my machine, I have a folder I already made called GitHub, and it's on my C drive, and all of my cloned repositories go there. If we were to look at that, it's a place for me to quickly consolidate anything that's going to be synced with GitHub, all my programming and development projects, and now this website is going to be located in this folder. So it allows me to know there's one place that I go to for all of my GitHub work. So I'm going to clone it, and I'm going to change my repository in, just to look at GitHub.io. There we go. There are no local changes to it, and if I look in this folder, I now have a folder here, Augustus Wendel GitHub.io. So this is going to be what would be the root directory of a website on a more traditional web server, now is within this location here. And if I were to, let's say, let's copy in a picture. There we go. Some arbitrary picture. In fact, let's rename that demo 3D pic. I'm going to copy that, go to my C drive, GitHub, paste it in here. Of course, the file name and capitalization is incredibly important when we're syncing files and trying to load them into a web browser. And what I notice immediately when I go to my GitHub desktop is it has acknowledged something new exists or has changed in my local folder that is not changed in the cloud folder. And it tells me this is one change. One file has changed here. So I'm going to commit it to the main, and then I'm going to publish and push it up to GitHub. And if I go back to my web browser and look at GitHub now, my repositories, now I see demo underscore 3D underscore pic.jpg. So let's say augustusmundell.github.io, and that was 3D. What was the name of it? Demo 3D pic. Demo 3D pic.jpg. There we go. So this web browser now accesses that folder on GitHub and treats it as a website. And while all I've done is load a JPEG file in, I could load in any HTML structure and content and such. So I'm going to make a video that follows this that demonstrates how we can host a simple panorama site coming out of a program called KRPano and use this GitHub pages repository to make that web accessible in a very quick and efficient way.